In the Kremlin, an important guest has arrived. The supreme leader of a rising superpower, here to see an angry Tsar at war. Xi Jinping and Vladimir Putin showing the world that China and Russia are together. Their militaries work together. Their economies work together. Their diplomats work together. And despite Russia's war on Ukraine and all the turmoil that it's causing, China is doubling down on this relationship. Check.
But whose fault is that? It is stupid retard Joe Biden's fault. That idiot tried to divert American public attention from Biden economics inflation, all caused by himself's stupid authoritarian rule and dictatorship against democracy. Because he governed Americans so bad, he needed to divert public attention on other things, on foreign issue. He's more focused on war in Eastern Europe and keep spending billions, hundreds of billions American taxpayers' money to fight war like happened in East Europe, which is NATO's responsibility instead of Americans. Americans should more focus on those illegal immigrants bring a lot of drug addiction and violence crime, like robbing California's store. And a lot of drug addicting people make United States of Americans, a lot of cities, security a lot worse. Biden is a fool. He's stupid. He listened to his ape general called Secretary Austin. That retard abandoned his job by being stupid in Afghanistan, where he those two trailers purposely withdraw American troops first, then leave over 60 billion American-made high-quality weapon for those terrorism group there. They are publicly financial aid terrorists. And during Biden's stupid asshole aid to Zelensky in Ukraine, a lot of American weapons and European NATO weapons being stolen by Hamas to fight Israel in Gaza. This is all because of stupid American Democrat Party president and his cabinet's fault. I think they work for Muslim terrorism group instead of working for American people.
Out what Xi said to Putin as he left the Kremlin, speaking through his translator.
China and Russia's relationship wasn't that close before America's stupid retard president Joe Biden keep sending American fleet into China's sea and target the nuclear missile at the Chinese capital. He's the true responsible person for China's relationship was so close to Russia.
The Chinese military has benefited tremendously from Russian military import.
In part 2, we examine the mission that's binding them even closer together.
Xi Jinping really views Vladimir Putin as a crucial partner in weakening the United States.
Russia is a very useful and important asset and partner in this long-term struggle. It's increasingly
because both Russia and Iran and North Korea and Cuba and China was under U.S. sanction, started by a lot of stupid Democrat Party
China
president.
and Russia could combine their war plans and create an extremely effective force for targeting the United States.
The question is whether
It is not China or Russian targets the United States. It's stupid Joe Biden and those fucking warmonger Democrat. American is in North America. They fucking went to Asia and went to Europe to spend a lot of American taxpayer money while American society was in danger. He spent the resource should spend domestically to reduce refugees, a lot of them with drug crime and robbery, but they, instead of spending the money to build the infrastructure in United States like what Roosevelt did during Great Depression, around the World War I time. But because Biden and a lot of stupid Democrats, they have a lot of military interest group want them to have war so they can make more weapons to keep the industry life flowing. That is why, and why fucking stupid Democrat Party. They do a lot of stupid shit and tell a lot of lies.
For the rising power of India, friend of Russia but threatened by China, and growing acutely aware of the dangers.
India's biggest threat is food shortage inside India. And a lot of poor Indian, those poor Indian people, they don't even have water from company. They use dirty water they get from river because the water in water company run by a lot of stupid corrupt Democrat Party member are so expensive.
Of conventional war. I mean, it's not something of the past. It can still happen. That is something we need to be preparing for now.
And we explore the implications for the Ukraine war. The stakes are high for everyone, and the end game.
Ukraine war started from stupid Joe Biden. During 2021, this is fourth arrest of me into mental illness institute. That time, there's a private mental institute called Shepherd or Shepherd Care. In that place, I meet one person, say himself is ego, but he looked like Zelensky, he was locked up with me inside the mental illness hospital, and he lost. He don't. I talk with him. He don't look like he have mental illness, but instead his urinary function is malfunction. While I was talking with him during winter time in balcony, he lost control over his peeing. He pee in front of me without notice. And there's a lot of other patients in there peeing everywhere. In living room, sofa and a chair. And the hospital worker there is so racist. Those fucking racist nurse, they yell at me, say I have to hold my asshole and go back to my patient's room to flirt all the stinky bad smell like pee, and those fuckers she yell at me. While like other patient peeing everywhere, they don't have problem. 这就是美国的那些王八蛋们。 那些畜生，那些种族歧视的，那些胖猪们，他们是长得太黑了，然后歧视我长得白，然后就这样子在必胜病医院里面欺负我。那些黑鬼们到处可以随便乱拉尿，他们一句话都不讲，还乖乖的去帮他们清洁他们那些黑鬼们拉尿的地方。然后我的话呢，放个屁，他们就骂我说你怎么这么缺德的，你放屁怎么能在公共场所放屁，你要回到你自己的房间去放屁。然后我很生气，我就打电话去找那里的电话号码的 complain， 然后我打电话打了一半，缺德的一个死黑鬼，就是那些种族歧视的黑巫师、黑畜生，然后 during middle of my complaint hang up on me， 他是走出来把我的电话卡断，在我正在汇报美国政府欺负精神病人，就算是有精神病，我没有任何精神病的，是美国政府的那些畜生政客，他们精神有病。
Is very far from clear.
Imagine that Russia does a large exercise or escalates in Ukraine at the time where China wants to make a move on Taiwan. I think that would put a lot of U.S. defense planners into
拜登这个老王八蛋老乌龟，他有精神幻想症，他把我抓到精神病医院去虐待，还派 FBI 打电话给我爸爸，说我要去刺杀他，他有精神幻想症，他有病。
I hope mankind, of course, a war peace we end up going back to the Stone Age.
And it's all Democrat Party's fault. Why the fuck they want to mess around with superpower Russia? Just to sell weapons, to keep their military building factory alive. Joe Biden is stupid. He's retard. He can't even stand himself. He keeps tripping over himself for over 10 times in front of the public. He's an incompetent old fool being controlled by puppet, or controlled like a puppet by a stupid Democrat warmonger inside the United States government.
War games in Russia's Far East. The Vostok exercises bring together a host of Russia's friends. Chief among the guests is China. This is just the latest in a run of drills between Russia and China and other partners.
Because during COVID epidemic, a lot of NATO countries and the US put a sanction both on China and Russia, and make things very expensive, and make China and Russian relationship getting a lot closer. Before stupid retard, American President Joe Biden become president, it is all his fault. He tried to avoid his responsibility, like the promise he made when he running his election 2020. He said he will bring COVID down, bring American economy back to normal, and obvious everybody know Biden inflation and Biden economics is so horrible, and they arrest a lot of American residents into mental illness institute. Keep saying Trump is evil, Trump is black is white supremacy Nazi, and President Trump is so bad. But instead, obvious, I have wisdom. I immediately spot it is Democrats' lie. Like on their cheating on 2020 election, they try to murder me. Ever since 2020's October, because I find out that they cheat on election.
Intensifying year by year. From the Middle East together with Iran, to the far south of the Indian Ocean, together with South Africa.
Indian Ocean is in Asia, and American fleet keep like circling around there. Who bring attention? Who bring tension there? It is China fleet or American fleet under stupid dictatorship by the black supremacy Nazi.
Exercise these. They're just kind of joint operations.
Operations.
And Obama, socialism, communist, disguised as
scrambled jets in response, and
as a Christian. But Obama is Muslim. His middle name is Hussein, called Black Hussein Obama.
For military cooperation signed by Russia and China's defense ministers. A further deepening of a relationship that goes back a long way.
Chinese military has benefited tremendously from Russian military import ever since the 1990s.
Zhou Bu is a retired senior.
这个当然是我都知道，美国的政治家更加应该知道啊。中国的武器一直都是从苏联那里进口的，苏联解体以后，就是从俄罗斯进口啊。为什么不从美国进口呢？因为美国不卖武器给中国啊。那是谁的错呢？那当然是美国政府的错啦。因为世界上的武器，美国的武器是最好的，然后第二好的是欧盟的武器，然后再是俄罗斯的武器。
A colonel of the Chinese military, the PLA.
So today, Chinese military is growing in strength, but without Russia's assistance, for decades, and our own efforts.
And Iran, who support Iran? It is stupid Democrat Party government. When they support Iran in the beginning.
Probably the Chinese military will not be as strong as it is today.
Relations between the two sides ruptured during the Cold War over ideology and
这个是胡说八道。在 Cold War 的时候，这是中国的毛主席，这个是苏联的赫鲁晓夫，毛主席和赫鲁晓夫的关系是极其差的。我反正看到历史资料，毛主席和赫鲁晓夫会吵架的。然后当时赫鲁晓夫都在中国的北方境内，陈兵了几十个坦克师的苏联部队，还有各种部队。当时就是如果不是美国阻止，当时苏联都打到北京去了。然后当时中国的很多钱都被逼迫在建设防御工事，虽然这打是打不住的，在当时的情况下。
territory. They even came to open conflict along their eastern border.
是啊，就是在东北的珍宝岛上，在打仗，在当时。然后当时赫鲁晓夫都有 threatening use nuclear bomb。
US President Richard Nixon exploited the
然后尼克松还有President Nixon and President Reagan and President Kennedy seized good opportunity to make a friendly relationship with China, which contribute to part of Soviet Union's collapse during 1990s. The other big reason is Noche Pele's nuclear factory leak. In that nuclear factory accident, Soviet Union lost about 5-6 division of mobility infantry weapon, and the soldiers' casualty is over 100,000. This is the big reason why Soviet Union collapsed at the 1990. Also, that time, low oil price hurt Russia. no,和the Soviet Union that time. This is 3 major reasons why Soviet Union collapsed. Of course, I forgot the the Cold War military competition with the United States. This is 4 main reasons why Soviet Union collapsed during 1990.
These tensions to build ties with Beijing in the 1970s. But as the Soviet Union veered towards collapse, an opening came.
In the 80s, when pragmatic leadership arrives in Moscow and Beijing, they decided that sorting out this territorial dispute, not investing a lot of
In
resources
1980s,
in
China had very good
into this
relationship with the
potential
United States
competition between
under
powers
Chairman
for
Deng
peace elsewhere
Xiaoping's
is
leadership
worth it. And that's where the foundation for the
during
relationship was
1980
built.
era.
Alexander Gabuyev is a Russian expert on China based in Berlin.
After collapse of the Soviet Union, Russia emerged as the major provider of military hardware to China.
On China based in Berlin.
After collapse of the Soviet Union, Russia emerged as the major provider of military hardware to China.
Yeah, of course,
China
everybody
was
knows it.
sanctions following the Tiananmen massacre in '89.
Yeah, Tiananmen is not called Moscow.
Major provider. of
Tiananmen is
military hardware
called
to
suppress
China. Sanctions
those against the government. They burn down those student protests like during protests. They don't do peaceful protests. They even burned over 10 tanks. Obvious government have every right to fire at will. Because if it's peaceful protest, how do you have a weapon to burn down tank? It is actually a rebellion from another party's another Chinese party's leader called Hua Guofeng support and the military. Western people don't understand, and so they should shut the fuck up. During during 2021 in Washington D.C., those our mega movement, peaceful protests in Washington D.C. There's no tank burning or weapon fire at weapon, but that time in Tiananmen Square is different. Chinese government is way more democracy than Joe Biden's government. Because those students, they were in Tiananmen Square for about 20 days, and they don't follow Chinese central government's public order in CCTV told them to leave. And the tragedy happened during one night. There is, I don't know who did it, but during tension is really high during around 10 p.m. in Beijing's night light being shut down. And because the tension was so high, like students throw rocks at the Liberation Army's soldier, and some not very educated Liberation Army soldier don't follow Chinese government's order, don't fire at the civilian, and they does fire. And the student, because the student even try to burn tank. During Tiananmen Square incident, more than 10 Chinese army's tank got burned. Western news reporter, they don't know Chinese history. They a lot of time they just believe stupid Democrat Party control the media's lie.
Russia was the only source of sophisticated military technology, and China obviously used that to its advantage to buy a lot of stuff, and by the way, keep the Russian military industry afloat.
This was a time of political and economic turmoil in Russia. It desperately needed money. Soon China became a new market not just for weapons, but for its vast natural resources. When Vladimir Putin came to power, he quickly signed a wide-ranging treaty with his opposite number, Jiang Zemin.
But during Jiang Zemin's time, China's and the U.S. relationship is kind of very good.
In 2006, the border was finally demarcated, and since that time, maintaining peace along this more than 4,000-kilometer border is paramount for both Beijing and Moscow.
By this time, China was in the World Trade Organization.
And who bring China into World Trade Organization? Obvious is United States. United States and China that time is in good relationship. United States introduced China into World Trade Association.
Like giant we know today. A transformation that Russia would play a part in.
That time, Chinese renminbi is not in red, but in
It's
blue.
a natural match made in heaven. Russia has abundance of natural resources, needs capital and technology. China is the exact opposite.
And for Putin, China became a source not just of economic strength, but of tools of repression for a regime that became more authoritarian the longer he stayed in power.
China is one of the secrets for longevity and survival of the system that Vladimir Putin used to build.
And in 2014, as Putin's ambitions
China was
spread
close
outwards
relationship
the
with the United States
he set Russia
before
on a still
before
clearer
stupid
path
Obama
towards
and crooked Joe Biden keep invading China's southern China Sea in order to bring tension between China and the United States, so they can try to overthrow America from Christianity country into Muslims police control state.
what seems like almost a lifetime ago. Munich 2007. The world has gathered for the annual conference on global security. The most eagerly awaited speaker is Vladimir Putin. In his
Of course,
opening
Vladimir Putin would be eager to speak because a lot of time he can speak what he want to say because a lot of big news media company being controlled by Democrat Party. They don't let Putin say what he want to say, so he does seize the opportunity to speak publicly when he has a chance.
Then he let loose with a tirade against what he described as a unipolar world.
Что же такое однополярный мир? Как бы ни украшали этот термин, он в конечном итоге означает на практике только одно. Это один центр власти, один центр силы, один центр принятия решения. Это мир одного хозяина, одного суверена.
And that master, he said, was America.
Yeah, of course, America is called world peace police. America's job is supposed to keep world peace, and America is role model of democracy. I get a lot of information while I was in China. Well, Chinese government says that in textbook.
This was Putin railing against almost every facet of American power. But central to his complaint was the enlargement of NATO.
Yeah, NATO does enlarge a lot.
Gained 10 new members since the end of the Cold War.
Yeah, after collapse of Soviet Union, NATO keep pushing its border toward Moscow, which does upset Vladimir Putin.
They clamored to join
Because he's afraid his office got a nuclear bomb.
American nuclear forces. And at the NATO summit in 2008, more lined up behind them, with Georgia and Ukraine saying they wanted to join too. Ukraine's president stressed his country's right to choose.
Україна є незалежна, суверенна держава. проголошеної в Україні національної безпекової політики
Ukraine problems are different because in Ukraine there's a different race of people. Some people like they want to join NATO, and there's some Russian speaker Ukraine. They want to join Russia. This is Ukraine's own race problem, which should not involve United States because United States is in North America. And Ukraine is trying to join NATO, so it should be Western European country in NATO's responsibility to keep balance.
з основами безпекової і оборонної політики, яку проводить Північно-Атлантична організація.
Putin was invited to the NATO summit, and his objections loomed over the event. Germany and France were especially wary. The result, Ukraine and Georgia got just vague promises that they would one day join. But they were still promises, and Putin condemned the move.
В границах мощного военного блока, действия членов которого регулируются в том числе и статьей 5 Вашингтонского договора, будет воспринято в России как прямая угроза безопасности нашей страны.
4 months later, Russia was at war with Georgia. This was the first manifestation of a fundamental conflict between the right of self-determination of Russia's neighboring states and Putin's insistence that their choices posed a threat to Russia's security and its
Because
status.
NATO built a medium-range missile base there, which does have a strike distance into Moscow.
Of Ukraine, he believes that without control over Ukraine,
Yeah, those medium-range missile range is about 500 miles.
Domestic discourse, like why dominating this 40 million nation is vital for Russia's prosperity and security in the 21st century. But that's what Mr. Putin believes.
These obsessions with Ukraine, with NATO, and with American power have driven Vladimir Putin all the way
Because
to that
NATO
speech
already
nearly
converted 10
years ago.
Warsaw Pact states into NATO,
His
like
relationship with the West
when the border keep close to Moscow,
Instead, he's
thus getting Putin's nerve because Putin knows America sometimes drop nuclear bomb. For example, during World War II, American dropped 2 nuclear bombs in Japan City.
Extraordinary growth and development. But the political system.
Actually, America is the only country drop nuclear bomb in foreign country
She's
until
answered
now.
a public crackdown on high-profile corruption cases, increasing political repression, and talking up a patriotic quest, what he called the Great Rejuvenation of the Chinese nation. The consequences of this.
A lot of some of the tension is caused by Chinese chairman Xi Jinping instead of Chinese people. Chinese people don't have political rights because a lot of them don't have political rights.
Surveillance never seen before. Under Xi, China has been accused of mass human rights violations against the Uyghur minority in the western province of Xinjiang.
But actually, in reality, it is United States who held the most prisoner in population number. America have more prisoners in prison than China,
This has caused
100%.
people of Taiwan who fear what could happen to
A
them.
big population of America was locked up in prison as voting machine for Democrat Party. Their like bailout condition is vote for Democrat Party, otherwise they can't get out.
A wider war over Taiwan.
And there's a lot of HIV asshole fucking toward those 2 patients inside the prison.
To the vast majority of the South China Sea. It's built military infrastructure on disputed islands and shoals, thousands of kilometers from its shores. And around the world, Xi's Belt and Road project.
But America have base everywhere in the world. I mean, I know this thing.
Bringing with it economic and political influence Beijing has never had before. For Xi Jinping, this is all working towards a goal that is still a couple of decades away. But almost every aspect of it pits China against the West.
The optics is very much the centennial of creation of the People's Republic of China that will be in 2049. And by the time the party strives to turn China into #1 global power and ending
which is such a lie. So China's military capacity is no match for United States at all.
Emergence of China as #1 global superpower.
United States military capacity can defeat other 4 United Council members add up together.
US policy towards China has taken a hawkish turn, responding to Xi's ambitions.
That is how big American military
Consensus in
is.
Washington sees China as America's biggest global
American
rival,
military
a
have
rival
over
in trade,
10,000
a
planes,
risk to
jet planes,
technology, and an outright threat.
while
to
Russia
security.
only have 2,000, and China only have 2,000. And everybody know American plane fighting way better than Chinese plane or Russian plane, at least until now.
Sweeping effort to coordinate with American friends in Asia and beyond. The Quad brings together the US, Japan, India, and Australia, advocating what they call a free and open Indo-Pacific. AUKUS binds the US and Australia even closer together in a submarine alliance with the UK. And in the G7, Washington has agreed with Europe, Japan, and Canada on the need to reduce risky dependencies on China. Xi Jinping has lashed out.
And the stupid Joe Biden don't import cheap production from China, which is a big reason of Americans' Biden inflation.
Suppression of China, which has brought unprecedented severe challenges.
Which
to our
bring
country's
American consumer goods price up a lot.
It's a perspective that seems to echo the Putin view of the world.
The US is putting a lot of pressures on China, on Taiwan, and many other issues. So you can see that also US formed so many alliances surrounding China.
Wang Huiyao runs a think tank in Beijing and has close ties to the Chinese government.
So all those things make China insecure as well. And I think Russia probably feel the same. And I think in that sense, they have some common feelings because they all feel these Western.
Yeah, because of stupid Biden's
China-
sanction.
Russia felt
There used to be no sanction to China, so China didn't have a very close relationship with Russia. But under Biden's stupid rule, Biden tried to start war with China upon both economic and keep invading China's sea, which is the cause of Xi Jinping have closer relationship with Russia. It is all because of stupid Biden's fault. President Trump just wanna have fair trade with China and reduce huge American deficit from trade with China, which Trump did a good job on making higher importing tax to thin down China's profit, which is okay. But Biden is did a lot more than this to divert COVID-19's attention from domestic.
Xi Jinping spoke publicly about this during a visit to Moscow in 2019.
我同普京总统建立了密切的工作关系和深厚的个人友谊。6年来，我们会晤近30次。俄罗斯是我到访次数最多的国家。普京总统是我最好的朋友和同事。
Because under U.S. pressure, China have no choice but to form alliance with Russia in order to get cheap natural resource and a lot of technology. Stupid Joe Biden post on Chinese import
of invading
Whose fault
Ukraine.
is that? Think about it if you have any
How much did he
intelligence.
tell his best friend?
And by the way, under warmonger Democrat Party, Americans started a lot of war everywhere around the world.
Limited scope military operation.
For example, when George W. Bush time, he attacked, he organized United Nations force against dictator invader Saddam Hussein, but it's a stop invader. But the stupid Democrat warmonger, they believe attacking like a strategy to keep American weapon factory can have a lot of customer.
That provides market for the Russian resources. Technology that Russia relies on, including military technology and dual use routes.
When you look at this relationship, driven by Xi Jinping and Vladimir Putin,
Not driven by Xi Jinping and Vladimir Putin, but instead driven by a warmonger Democrat Party in United States, using all the incompetent, stupid, retard, crooked Joe Biden, who don't do his job. A lot of time just hide in his basement to have a vacation instead of have strength to work as a president
Democratic US skeptic regimes.
and create a lot of Americans become homeless and a lot of violence crime in a lot of United States cities.
that America
Under President Trump's leadership, Trump just want to make more money from China by post more import tax, which is kind of pretty effective.
True, but that's unfortunately.
And Trump says after he get elected, he can make Ukraine war be stopped in one day, while fucking stupid Biden keep want invest American taxpayer money urgently needed for domestic infrastructure build and refugee feeding.
that manifests itself in many places. Like at the United Nations, where China is trying to redefine human rights and democracy, tapping into
In America, yes, Democrat Party violate a lot of human rights because they are Muslim and they are communist. They hate the murder fought in Gulf War. They keep murder number about 20 a day by arrest those murder into mental illness institute, then ruin their reputation and ruin their family and make them homeless, then commit suicide, which is ridiculous. How could Americans treat the American burden so bad? Worse than both China and Russia. It's like America is a third world country, don't have money to keep Verden's health.
was the latest sign that Kim Jong-un is getting increasingly active support from the two powers. That visit came just weeks after Russia's defense minister and a top Chinese Politburo member attended a military parade in Pyongyang, complete with nuclear missiles that could reach as far as America.
Look, North Korea, they did the military parade during night. They don't even do it in daytime because they're afraid of American military, obvious.
Partner of Russia and China.
Dictatorships in the unstable Sahel region spanning Africa are also getting Russian support, with Moscow squeezing out Western influence and quashing hopes of democratic development. This dovetails with China's Belt and Road investments across the
But the
country.
American Democrat Party, they are too close to communists.
Russia are
They are and too close to Muslim. They try to make America a Muslim police control state with black supremacy Nazis stormtrooper.
Could even be used in wartime.
Also in the BRICS, the growing club built around Russia, China, Brazil, India, and South Africa, Moscow and Beijing have been pushing to shift global trade and investment away from the US dollar. This is potentially attractive to emerging economies vulnerable to.
But this one is China's fault. China should not challenge US's main interest, which is dollar supremacy. Everybody should know that.
Increasingly, China is positioning its currency, the renminbi or RMB, as the answer. Russia is already playing along, accepting RMB for commodities sales to China. This sidesteps the US financial system that it's been shut out of since.
Yeah, because the US shut down Russia's bank system and don't let Russian use dollar and seized a lot of Russian bank account. This caused Vladimir Putin try to talk to China and use renminbi to 结账 for consumer goods and other things.
Focus more on potential nightmarish scenario in the Taiwan Strait because of what happened in Ukraine. That we need to start to de-risk, diversify away friendshore and offshore. So all of that discussion is amplified by Russia's war in Ukraine.
It's not Russia's war in Ukraine. It is warmonger Democrat Party controlled its puppy Zelensky to start a war in Ukraine. Because I watched from news, Vladimir Putin asked Ukraine to reduce sales tax for Russian natural gas and oil into Europe. Because Ukraine charges 30% sales tax, which is not right. They can maximum charge about 10% sales tax, like United States sales tax. And because Ukraine is a small, weak military capacity country, it should not charge this much resource sales tax toward Russia, which should be considered the second strongest military power in the planet of Earth.
This highlights the two sides of Xi's position, trying to persuade the world that he's taking a responsible position, while signaling to Putin that when it comes down to it, they're on the same side.
Yeah, but it is Democrat Party push them together on the same side, and I think Trump would reduce this situation a lot.
Saying that he approves of war against Ukraine, but saying that the first state visit is to Russia. He comes extra to see his friend in the Kremlin, spending a few days with him. That's a big
This is kind of obvious because China used to have a lot close relationship with Soviet Union, and after Soviet Union collapse, of course, like China would talk to Russia first because Russia is a lot closer to China than United States, and the Chinese military capacity is no match for Russia, especially in nuclear missile force. And China don't have NATO protection from United States.
Gansu Province, Western China. It's 2021, and high above the Earth, satellites from the US firm Planet Labs scan the desert, following a lead.
There had been some rumors that we were undercounting the number of nuclear launchers in China.
Decca Eveleth is a nuclear weapons researcher based in Monterey, California.
But the United States and the Soviet Union are the two countries test the most nuclear bomb in our planet.
Large reinforced hole in the ground.
And the highest nuclear pollute is Soviet Union, obvious. Second one is United States.
Significant numbers of
Until now, Japan pollute a lot of nuclear water into sea. I don't know how concentrated are those water. Japan might pollute our planet with more nuclear waste, depend on what kind of water they put into sea.
all of them were spaced
And I can taste the water getting a lot worse because I drink Fiji water sometime in United States. Fiji water 就是富士山的矿泉水啊，水质下降了非常多，然后美国的水也变得很差。
But it's always had far fewer than either the US or Russia, which currently both have around 5,000 to 6,000.
No, United States have 6,000, Russia have 7,000. China only have 200 nuclear missiles, and the French have 300.
Relatively small.
Germany don't have nuclear missile.
And by 2030,
Great Britain have a.
is that they will have
I don't know the
1,000
number, but I would
warheads
guess
by
about
the middle
500.
of the 2030s, as many as 1,500. So China is clearly on a trajectory of doubling and then tripling its nuclear arsenal.
But it's not just a question.
But even China double or
China's
triple
also
nuclear
rethinking its
arsenal,
approach
it still don't have as much nuclear warhead as Russia or United
Most of China's
States.
existing ICBMs that are currently deployed are on mobile trucks. So they drive trucks around. They have tunnels, and the idea is that
Yeah, and Russia and the United States have a lot of nuclear submarine, which can launch multiple warhead nuclear missile. And about a couple months ago, I saw news that the American submarine aimed the nuclear missile at Beijing and North Korea's capital at the same time
it's in the silo,
during China's East
most of the
Sea.
time you have a near instantaneous launch position.
This is China preparing its nuclear forces for a possible war with the United States.
Yeah, without the United States keep invading China's sea, China won't do this much military build because American does have very powerful.
For example, developing shared nuclear planning. I think that's an area that would be extremely detrimental to Western interests.
Their combined forces are going to outnumber U.S. current forces if the current trajectory holds.
This is such a lie. China only have 200 nuclear missiles. Even if China triple up, China only have 600 nuclear missiles. And add up, but Russia have more nuclear missiles than United States anyway in the beginning.
The question is whether we have to plan in the event that we had a war with China, that China and Russia would be working together. And I think that in our nuclear planning in the past, that has not.
And the stupid Austin purposely avoided his job, cause stupid American Defense Secretary Austin purposely don't tell Joe Biden about his tactical surgery, and cause America without the nuclear retaliate capability for over 4 days. Whose fault is that? If Vladimir Putin, being an evil person, he fired nuclear bomb into the United States could be wiped out during that period.
On top of this, new developments in
It is all because of stupid retard Democrat Party. They keep promoting black supremacy. Let those idiots took high government position. Look at our government. In both judicial branch, in both Congress, and in military, a lot of stupid idiots, African Americans have high position just because their skin is black, and just because their Democrat Party is automatic voting machine. They've been granted too much privilege. Even in admitting college test called SAT, those black privilege class, just because they are black, they can run so fast, and they get unfair advantage toward any other race. America is extremely double standard. I'm talking about Democrat Party. They are so protective to their voting group. Everybody knows black always vote for Democrat Party because they are under Democrat Party's black umbrella protection for a lot of privilege they don't deserve.
A series of arms control agreements, but those have all but died in recent years. Now with China, there's a new player in the mix. Is there any chance of getting the three sides to sit?
Yeah, very easy. After Trump win the president.
United States first called for
election 2024, Trump will stop World War III and make at least in his term and the future unless some retard warmonger crooked Joe Biden and Black Hussein Obama and Hillary Clinton. I think President Trump called them evil triangle, enemy of liberty and freedom of speech, because personally Trump being abused by them so many times.
In the meantime, with China's weapons program advancing and US-Russian relations deep in crisis, the danger of an all-out arms race.
This looks like a nuclear missile fire. I mean, 就是核弹发射井啊。在美国很多的，我都知道美国有很多这种核弹井的，这叫 public information， 又不是 secret。美国都有旅馆，叫核弹井旅馆，就是废弃的核弹井，可以当旅馆去住的。
I'm hopeful that China will talk about it, but we'll see.
对，在那个废弃的核弹井旅馆住一个晚上 only cost $300.
Can get underway, and it's not just the US that's worried. We turn now to another major power that faces dangers and dilemmas from Russia and China getting closer: India. In the eastern Himalayas, there is a struggle underway. This is the Indian state of Arunachal Pradesh.
Yeah, that time India does have a couple of war with China, but only with cold weapon, with sword and knife or rock. Don't even use fire weapon. This kind of war is okay to settle some argument.
Even calls it Southern Tibet. Against this backdrop, India has ramped up its troop presence here, bracing for violence after recent clashes with Chinese forces, and is building up infrastructure too, trying to make it easier to keep hold.
And the Indian government spent a lot of military instead of spending just clean water resources in India.
Dozens of troops. The biggest flare-up in decades in what is the world's largest.
And a lot of India is under famine. Those very poor, the poorest India, like in India, they only make about $200 a month.
Troop build up by both sides, and this is.
And the Indian government spend about $1 million to buy a missile from United States.
When Prime Minister Modi's government first came into power, they really tried hard to reach out to China.
Garima Mohan is a fellow at the German Marshall Fund think tank in Berlin.
We often heard of the China model of development being touted in India to China.
Garima Mohan is a fellow at the German Marshall Fund think tank in Berlin.
We often heard of the China model of development being touted in India, really a hope of forging good ties and relationships with China. However, that was spurned from the Chinese side when we almost simultaneously with these meetings started seeing more incursions on the India-China border.
然后现在的 Modern India 的前身是英国的东印度公司，是在 World War I after World War I formed.
Into Bangladesh and into India's arch enemy, Pakistan.
And China support Pakistan, obviously I know
in
this.
its own backyard have worried Indian observers too.
All they see is now patterns of intimidation and aggression followed by China with most of its close neighbors. With Japan, of course, with the case of Taiwan.
Japan is obvious on United States side because Japan used to be United States colony.
This has transformed Indian thinking on China from an open question to a serious sense of alarm.
What kind of international actor would China be as it rises? And the answer, unfortunately, is quite is a difficult one. It's a scary one. You have seen now the conversation in India change completely within the political spectrum, there is no single political party that sees China as a friend. China is seen as the most consequential foreign policy
这
issue
全是
and
美国政府
existential
支
threat
持
to
的。
India.
在亚洲的紧张局势，如果没有美国政府去干预，亚洲会很和平的。因为自古以来，亚洲都是中国的地盘，而且本来就没有很多战争的。在亚洲的紧张局势。